Most of us know exactly what we want and what we want to do. We've just gotten really good at talking ourselves out of it. I'm Julie, and welcome to Be Cringe, the podcast that explores what happens when you start living for yourself and stop worrying about the opinions of others. This might be cringe, but we are doing it anyway. Happy to have you here. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I wanted to hop on and speak to you all myself before jumping into the episode. This isn't something that I've done in the past, but it's something that I felt like I wanted to do today. So, first off, I wanted to just thank everyone for being here, for listening. I cannot believe that this is our 8th episode of this podcast, my 7th interview that is going live. I have other interviews recorded that I'm really excited about. I have interviews in the works that I am excited about. And I just am so lucky to have had such incredible conversations with people who are willing to come and talk to me on this podcast. And also, I'm so lucky to have all of you listening. So thank you. I am eternally grateful, and it makes me want to keep doing this. So thanks for being here. The next thing that I wanted to share is that there were some technical issues with this episode. We had a Wi-Fi connection that caused the call to drop. So if you feel like the conversation just ends, it does. I was able to go ahead and record an ending with our guest and made that happen. But I think it was one of those signs from the universe that we were done. We had said everything we wanted to say. And honestly, as I was editing, I was really happy with where the conversation went anyway. I just wanted to give that caveat in case you felt like the conversation just jumps to a conclusion, so you're not shocked by that when it happens. The other thing that I wanted to note is the platform that I edit and host this podcast on removed the song that was the intro. And so we've got a new song. I liked the old song better. I'm pretty picky about music, and I think that's a sign that I just need to get my own licensing so that this doesn't happen again. But I appreciate you all bearing with me while we're in this state where different episodes have different intro music. So if you missed the old intro, so do I. If you didn't even notice, I'm so glad I brought it to your attention. Okay, yeah, I think that's all. I'm going to stop blabbing because I want to get into this wonderful conversation and this fantastic episode. So again, thank you for being here. And let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Be Cringe. I am delighted to introduce today's guest. Chelsea is here. She is a writer, a Substacker, a creative. She is a mother of 2. She's very intentionally stepping into this more public version of herself, and is sort of at this infancy of her online vulnerability. So excited to have you, Chelsea. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yes, of course. I am so excited to talk to you as well. I know I gave my spiel about you from what I know, but I would love it if you could introduce yourself in whatever way resonates today.
Yeah. Well, I usually start off by just saying I am a stay-at-home mom because that paints like a really broad strokes picture of what my life is like and kind of puts into context everything that I'm trying to do. But I'm a really intuitively led creator. Um, it's just kind of another way of saying I don't schedule my creativity. I'm off the cuff. I operate on vibes and energy and um, just in within the container of my own very precious alone time and trying to make the most of it. Um, yeah, I mean, without straying too far, I feel like motherhood has really helped me become more present and flexible with my plans. Plans are in quotes.
Mhm.
um, so that same approach has really carried into my creative life as well, and just created a lot more space for me to be present with whatever is coming that day. But writing is where I tend to lean in creatively the most these days. And I think like in the beginning when I started to take writing seriously, which was kind of January 2023, um, I really identified strongly with I'm a writer now. I want to claim that for myself. But these days, I'm more comfortable with just generally calling myself a creative and just kind of following with what that means for the day. Because if I'm a writer, I better be showing up to the page, butt in the chair, doing the thing. And my life doesn't allow for that. So
Mm,
yes, I'm a writer, but I have a lot of fluidity within that. And thinking is writing, walking is writing, living is writing. All of it is writing to me. So um, but like journaling specifically is kind of where I come each day. And like a major anchor of my personality is really wanting to know and understand myself and how I fit into the world. So
mm,
I've been a seeker of knowledge and understanding for my whole life. So learning and being curious is just like my default way of being. And yeah, I live in my head a lot. I'm a Gemini, it's an air sign, and it tracks, and we like to live in our minds. But it feels important to say that I grew up a gymnast and I settled into dance in high school and then in college as well, and danced professionally thereafter with a modern acrobatic company out of LA called Diavolo Architecture in Motion. Yeah, dance dance as opposed to gymnastics always felt like way more creative to me and felt more like me. And so whether I'm talking about writing or whatever sort of creative endeavor I'm doing, it feels important to say where I've come from. Um, Originally on Substack, my newsletter, I called it Stage to the Page because
mm.
that's what my trajectory was. And it really evolved over time. And now it's called Permission. And that feels right now. But yeah, I'm really proud of my professional past and just like who I was as a 21-year-old moving to LA, believing in myself and like following through with that dream. Um, I'm proud of that, and I want it to be said because life is so different now. But I think back on those times and remember who I was and let it inform who I can be now. And yeah, life is a lot more grounded and a little more predictable in some ways and very unpredictable in others. But yeah, I'm thankful that I followed through with my dream then. And if you can't tell, I'm sort of a generalist. I'm a variety seeker and I'm social, like as far as my personality goes, but I love solitude and I love silence
Mm.
and I love freedom and all these things that are highly contrasting to motherhood and that have really challenged my natural ways over the years. And these days I spend a lot of time writing and thinking and headphone-free walks because those that's how I come back to myself and figure out what I need now. So, yeah, that's just sort of a wide lens on my background and kind of how I place myself creatively today.
That's such a good summary and story of who you are. Um, there's so much good stuff in there, and hopefully to everyone listening, it's obvious why I think Chelsea's such a good fit for this podcast by all of that. I relate to so much of what you said, this idea of like operating on vibes and energy, right? In terms of how to fuel creativity. I'm obviously in this space where I have a lot of more free time than I've had in a very long time. And I really had to learn to let go of the structure and just be like, I said I was going to do one thing today, but something else is calling my attention. And that, just really allowing myself to follow that. I really relate to that. I also really love how you describe motherhood as a form of flexibility because I think it really flips this narrative, motherhood on its head. I feel like I hear so much of, you know, yes, our time is more precious, right? When you become a parent, you have less free time, maybe, but uh, so much of what I heard before becoming a parent and in a lot of parenting spaces is how rigid it is and how you lose that flexibility. And so it's really refreshing to hear your take on it. What is like the day to day for you as a creative living in this flexibility?
Well, uh, January 2023 is when a lot changed for me, and I started making my mornings, alone time. Like, I would people don't love to hear it, but I woke up super early to just be with myself and decide what I needed that day. And, back then I was writing morning pages no matter what. And that got to be very taxing. So these days, I might have an idea of, oh, I want to consider that idea, or I want to write 3 pages on how I'm feeling, or maybe I just want to read that one article, or maybe I just want to meditate. But I use the container of about half an hour in the morning to get my head right before I'm packing lunches and all of that. My favorite days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I send both of my girls to one goes to Mother's Day out and the other is in kindergarten. So once I can get them out the door, I've already kind of got going in my head where I want to take myself creatively. And a lot of the time that starts with movement, whether I'm hitting the trail on the lake around my house, I'll walk that 2.5 miles and see what comes to me. And that 2.5 miles might take me like an hour and a half because I stop and journal a lot. Sometimes I'll stop and meditate too. Actually, I do that quite
Mhm.
often. So that's a pretty regular day for me on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I have that freedom. I also uh, I go work out at HotWorks. It's a sauna situation, 24-hour. Do you know what HotWorks is?
Mm-mm, no,
No? Okay,
but I'm
okay.
gonna feverishly Google it.
It's so fun. I love it. I love to sweat. Um, and that gets me in the headspace to be creative. So a lot of the time I'm leading with movement and then seeing where that takes me. Um, Yeah, and I'll just go from there. But it has
I
to
love
be
that.
when I'm alone, and I don't have that unless the girls are at school for a few hours. So
Yeah. Yeah, that is very relatable.
Mhm.
I started my Substack 3 years ago when I was pregnant with my son, and I was like, "I'm gonna have all this time, and I'm gonna have all these insights," and just once I gave birth, like, was not the case, and it took me a long time to find how to carve that time out for myself.
Mhm.
Um, I love that for you, creativity is so tied, 1, to, like, alone time and solitude, because I very much feel that way. I have to be with my thoughts, with myself, like, kind of quiet the mind and all of that, but creativity being so linked to movement as well. Obviously, like, we know that dance and movement can be creative, but, you think back to, like, high school cliques, and they're the artsy kids, and there's the jocks, and I love that for you, it sort of has come together, right, in this sort of I move, I get my thoughts, I write a little
Yeah.
bit,
Ugh.
and I I think that that is something that, can be really inspiring for people that maybe are creative, but also like to move and are trying to sort of reconcile with that. I had a, I run, I walk, but I was on a run yesterday and I took a trail that I don't usually take at the park near me, and I had to like stop and dictate something because if like all this stuff was just coming to me, and that really does not happen very often.
Oh,
Um,
I love
so yeah,
that feeling.
it was like, whoa, I was like, I can't forget this. It's such a good feeling. Yeah. I wanted to dive in more to like, the past as a gymnast, as a dancer, to kind of where you are now and how it's all sort of shaped you and yeah, this like creative container you're in.
Yeah, whenever I was dancing professionally with Diablo, I was like the self-proclaimed documentarian of everything. Like I'd have a journal on stage right, just like waiting for me over there when things
Mm.
would inevitably change, and I would scurry over, make a note change. And in the moment, that's hard to do. Like, you're a professional, you need to be on stage. My friends would just laugh at me, like, just chill out. Like, it's probably going to change again. But who else was also coming back to me? Hey, Chelsea, what did we say about that one thing? I'm like, you know what? It's in my notes. Let me look. So I loved being that person that people would come to when things would inevitably change. And whenever I left Diavolo back, that was in 2016 now. Um, my dear friend Amy, she took over as rehearsal director at that time, and I left her with my journal, and I just like passed it to
Mm.
her, and she was like, "I need all those notes," and she did an incredible job for a lot of years, and I'm proud of that legacy I left on paper, and one little anecdote though I recall is when we came back from a European tour. We were in Germany for most of the time, and I filled an entire journal on this like 2.5 week tour. And it had my heart in there. And I wrote a lot on the airplane back. And I left it in the seat back
Mm.
pocket, got off the plane, got back to my apartment in Echo Park and was like, "Oh my god, I know
Mm.
where that is, and it is not in my possession." I called the airline. 2 days later, I mean, somebody at Southwest was let me know via email, and I parked at LAX, put my hazards on, like, ran multiple football fields to get to wherever that lost and found was, and I hugged that person, I cried, and I'm just, like, reclaiming a journal that meant so much to me, you know? And of course, I still have that. And so those are just like kind of the moments in life where you realize like how much certain things mean to you. And I didn't even consider myself a writer back then, but I was writing so much. I can get really in my head about, I never have time. I'm never going to get around to this. When am I ever going to start that memoir I thought about doing? It's like, the truth is, I'm working on it now. I don't even know it.
Yeah.
I don't even know it. My life is informing my future, and I just can't see it all yet.
Yeah. I love that. The truth is I'm working on it
Mhm.
now. I think
Yeah.
that I have a lot of parallels too where I've got these projects and these thoughts and, there's only so much time in a day, only so many different directions I can spread myself in. Love that story about your journal. I'm so glad you got it back. I've never
Oh,
gotten anything I've left on a plane back before. My iPod Classic when I was 16, lost. My favorite water bottle, lost. Nothing as sentimental though, of course. I'm kind of seeing this thread in what we've talked about today and back then. You have this ability or this desire to show up as the version of Chelsea who says yes. And we were talking about like why you said yes to the podcast. What made you want to do this?
mhm.
What made you say yes? What makes you say yes to all of the other things in your life?
I can just feel myself every day more and more like growing into my future self, who I'm also going to call
Mm.
my higher self because I trust her and I lean into that language. Um yeah, whenever I saw that you were looking for podcast guests, I was just like, "Oh, it's me. I have to do it." It's in me to want to connect in this way, and it's also very scary to put yourself out in this way. Like, I'm so used to taking in other people's interviews and what other people are doing out in the world, and I'm very infrequently talking about my own projects. And, like again, stay-at-home mom, like, I have to seek those opportunities out, and I've been able to do that more and more because by my own accord, I'm speaking up more. And I find that when I do that, when it feels right, when I'm having a good conversation at a birthday party with a mom I'm kind of connecting with, it feels so good to me to be more of myself and to speak in more detailed truth as opposed to just like keeping it so surface level. But if people find that you want to I don't know, offer just a little more of your personality, a little more of yourself, like say more of your opinion, then, I think it is an invitation for other people to open up more too. And so I want to be that invitation for people. If I can bring that frequency to a connection, then I hope that others feel that and want to do the same. So when I saw your podcast, I was like, this is a chance. Like I can do that. And it's hard and it's scary. And last night I told my husband, I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna do this." Like, I'm brave.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe in that version of myself, and I think the more I show up for it, the more she's going to be leading my life, and that's the kinda trajectory I want for myself.
So, ugh, I love that. I love that sort of brave version, right? Even if it's
There's
hard
other versions
initially. I mean,
that
oh,
exist,
yeah,
of course.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's exactly it, right? There are all these versions of ourselves and making the choice like, no, I'm going to show up as like the brave version of myself. I'm going to be that person. And
Hmm.
that person says yes to things like this. And that person shows up as her full self when speaking with other parents, which is really, I think, really hard to do. And I think that being that invitation is really it's empowering, and it's kind of exactly why I wanted to set out on this podcast, is like to interview people who are, yeah, being brave in their day to day, and then having everyone who's listening being like, oh, Chelsea's doing that. Okay, I can do that too.
This year, I'm trying to put myself out of my comfort zone. I should say that. Like,
Yeah.
that's been a big goal of mine, and so this is definitely one way to do that. This weekend, I'm going
Yeah.
horseback riding. I've never done that before either.
Ooh, I love that. You're the fire horse
Oh,
is
that's
coming
yeah.
quite literally for you. I mean, even before you said
Yes.
you were going horseback riding, I was like, this is so fire horse energy. And then that like is so literal.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yes, the
Uh,
parallels are insane.
I feel like, and I think that this is a trend for a lot of folks out there in the world, not everybody, but this like year of the fire horse, I am just talking to a lot of people, and that energy of like early, something is happening in tarot. It's like very Ace of Wands energy of like there's so much potential. Where do we go? It's so fiery. Um, I think that is so exciting to capitalize on, because so often we really want to celebrate the journey, like the end of the journey or the middle of the journey, or we want to celebrate these are the successes I've had, and here's how my path is being laid out. And I am seeing so many more people, yourself included. I would like to include myself in this, who are just being willing to be like, I'm early, I'm starting, I'm here. Let's talk
Mhm.
about it. And
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of space and desire for those conversations, because it is so easy to see someone who's done the thing you wanted to do for years and years. And of course, they're successful and like, basking in that.
Mhm.
But I also think it's really important for conversations like these, where it's like, something's there. I don't know what it is. I'm early, but I love being early and being here.
Well, not quite the same, but similar is just like embracing being a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
and so
totally.
whenever I can imagine that whatever it is I might want to do or opportunity I have, if I just look at it like, okay, I'm a beginner here, like what would a beginner do? It's more permissive. It allows you to write a bad draft, or say the wrong thing, or just do something wrong and learn from it, because it just
Hmm.
feels like if you're risk taking in that way, like you're going to glean some information. And I think that's really the point, is to learn, and for us to stop labeling all of our experiences as good or bad, or I was sad, this was painful. Like, it was just an experience you had. Even if that experience doesn't feel particularly positive, it's still helping you grow as a person, obviously, and it's helping you inform something that you can't see yet, and it's going to make you stronger in some way later. So I think embracing those lower moments of those harder times as just information and experience without labeling it, to be anything different, is it removes the pressure, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, then we can show up to anything that we're, um, at the precipice of, and go into it open, and just that openness is the way that we're going to be able to enjoy our life a lot more, and to experience those unpredictable moments of joy, at the bottom, like it's crazy how joy can reveal itself in like some of the lowest moments, and
Yeah.
in a revelation here or there.
Just being able to acknowledge like I am feeling low, or this isn't the end goal. This isn't even like the first goal, but being able to like ride that wave, as you said, take it as information and then discern, okay, what's next, right? Where do I want to go from here? Where can I channel that energy?
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean every time we're feeling a certain way, we have to be super productive about it or like, have a plan. Like it doesn't always have to be fixed, right? It doesn't always have to like be tied up in a neat bow. It's
Mhm.
information. It helps
It's
set
just
that course
different than what you were expecting. Yeah.
different than what you were expecting. And, the other thing you said that I loved was that openness of, yes, I am feeling a certain way, but I am super open. And that openness is what lets whatever that we can't see come in.
Mhm.
Because I think sometimes we are also so, I don't know if this resonates with you, but like I at least have this tendency of in my past being so prescriptive and like, this is the thing I want and this is what it looks like. And if I do that, I think that's, wonderful and beautiful to know what I want, but it also doesn't allow room for either my higher self or whomever else to be like, but what if it was this? Like,
Yeah.
what if it was this way? What if, whatever it may be? And I love this idea of like beginnerhood, taking that pressure off and jumping in, kind of getting those reps in, if you will. I think that's also quite resonant for a lot of people who want to start something, who feel that pressure. It's like, just start,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
start.
I'm I'm very protective with my energy now.
Do you think that's a lesson you've had to learn over time?
Yes, and sometimes it disappoints people because,
Mm,
like, what if the plan was, there's company and I don't know, hosting is a whole thing. Uh, I I'm not a super comfortable host. I'll show up and have a great time at somebody else's party, but hosting is hard for me. Um, but I just mean like in the context of I don't know, family and everything. It's like I'm not always the same person. I don't have the same capacity all the time. So if I'm disappointing somebody because I am getting a little snippy because I haven't had some time to sit with myself, then so be it. I mean,
mm,
I'm just I feel less guilty about that these days. And
yeah.
I don't want to feel bad about just who I am and what I need. I want to be able to say who I am and what I need and let that be okay.
It's so important to know that about ourselves. I am somebody that I do enjoy being social, but I'm very much an introvert and like that hermit energy is very important to me. And I really had to learn like I can't do things 5 days a week. It really speaks to what we started talking about at the beginning of how kind of one of the first things you said is how you're sort of leaning into this more flexible and intuitive, like that's how you create. That sounds like how you show up.
Mhm.
And being that person can be hard for others to like accept. We want to honor our promises and our commitments, but yeah, being somebody who is so comfortable in that flexibility, I think it's really empowering and inspiring. But if you're not open to that, or if the people in our lives aren't like open to that way of living, it can be tough.
Yeah, because a lot of people won't let themselves give themselves what they need. A lot of people
Yeah.
think that other people should show up white knuckling if they need to,
Hmm.
because that was what we said we were going to do. So
Yeah.
I want to be the person that gives permission to. I'm not my best today. Can we reschedule? I'm totally fine with that. I love when people cancel on me. um, Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a maturity thing. I think it's just a claiming who you are thing. It's an ability to um I don't know if you've ever heard of the lazy genius. It's Kendra Adachi. She's wonderful. She's written a couple books, but um her podcast is just so informative and all around just planning and domestic life and running a household. But she uses this metaphor of not putting together a jigsaw puzzle that each piece is perfectly planned and in alignment with the other, and it's going to build this perfect picture you had in mind all along, but rather showing up to a blank canvas and painting. And today I've got some blue, and today I've got some yellow,
Hmm.
and I and what am I going to do with that? Because my kid
Mm.
is throwing a fit. He doesn't want to go to the grocery store like I planned on doing. So could we just do takeout tonight? Could we just he needs to get some energy out. Let's go to the park first. Just changing the plan. It doesn't have to be what you were so married to it being before. Like just paint.
Mhm.
Paint and
Yeah.
let the picture reveal itself to you. And it really relieves a lot of the pressure on
Yeah.
ourselves of and we can be more present with our kids and letting them see that we are also flexible, and so they can practice flexibility for themselves. Like, I mean, they're just learning from us, and I want to be the example that is easygoing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think I love that metaphor of, it's not a puzzle, it's a picture, it's a canvas, and, like,
Hmm.
every day you have something new to work with, and we get to choose how we work with it, but
Hmm.
maybe we don't get to control the whole picture, right? Or maybe if we do control the whole picture, we're gonna miss out on something else. I love that sort of fluidity in that example.
What's the most important thing today? Is it to
Mhm.
have a really healthy uh, like prepped meal that you are prioritizing? Is dinner going to be the most important thing today, or is it time together? And those are
Mhm.
different. The way your day looks is different based on what is the the main priority to you. So
Yeah.
I you asked me earlier like how my day shapes up. It's like I know what my priorities are, and a lot of the time that is just giving into the moment. What am I feeling? Like what do I have energy for versus I know I've got to get to the grocery store today. I know I've got to get a workout in today. I know I want to play with that draft that I've had a really hard time with in the last few weeks. I want to put an hour into that. And
Yeah.
whatever those big anchors are, just focusing on that and letting the rest just fall as it may.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had to learn that lesson myself when I it was, like, one of the times that I was laid off. I've been laid off 3 times, and the 3rd time I was laid off, I was really, like, confronted with all of this empty free space. It was summer, so, like, hiring was just slower, and I found myself between these 2 very different realities of, like, I have so much to do. I have this, like, insane to-do list of things that I could do,
Mhm.
and I have to find a way to prioritize that's not, like, how many things can I check off the list, right? This it ca I knew right away, like, it could not be this chase for productivity. It could not
Almost
be
never.
like,
It's
I have a
almost
list of
never
100 things, so we're gonna do 10 a day and, like, figure it out. And so, I kind of had this idea, like, I was like, "These are the buckets that are important to me right now." I wanna, like, make sure I have time for creativity. I wanna make sure have time for, like, my home and that admin stuff. I should probably find a job. And, like, movement and connecting to myself is important. So, like, can I do one thing per category per day, right? Or, like, even more simply, can I, like, pick one category to do one thing in per day? Um, and I found that really unlocked a lot in me because it just sort of let me, to your point, say, "These are my priorities," right? Like, I know what my priorities are, and also, I'm gonna give myself permission to feel into, like, what that looks like today. Some days, it's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna deep clean the bathroom." That's the energy I have, and others, it's
Yep,
like, I'm gonna take the 2 Diet Coke cans that are on my desk and put them in the recycling bin, and that's my household chore checked
yep,
off, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's really important to, yeah, not just honor, like, the way we're feeling, but the parts of ourselves that need different attention on different days. I think this very much circles back to our first part of the conversation, but, like, this sort of intuition versus structure.
and the parts of ourselves that want to check the boxes, I mean, it's like a tick we have. It's like "Oh, if I'm not gonna feel productive unless I do this, this, and that." Um, I mean, it's always something deeper. It's like, what am I
Mm,
really trying to get at here? Am I trying to, just feel am I just trying to feel productive and not really be productive? Like, sometimes being productive is taking a nap, is taking a
yes.
silent beat outside, just sitting without anything. That can be the most productive thing you do
Mm,
today. because it recenters and reorients your priorities again, as opposed to just plowing through a to-do list that may or may not even be important.
Yeah, I love that duality or like that dichotomy of productivity versus like doing things.
Yeah, doing things is not always productive.
That's such a good framing. It might feel good to check things off for a bit, but I've had to learn that lesson by doing it, right? By trying to follow the content calendar and all of that, and then being like, that doesn't work for me. And then when I can't meet the expectation, I get, it doesn't feel good. And then it sours the experience. And it's sort of this like, it's like I'm almost playing tug of war with myself. And it's like, if I just let go of that,
Mhm.
then I have the desire to create again. And it's a much more enjoyable experience. How does that all play into like your search for community, how you're connecting with the people in your life, how you're finding others who share that sort of
I
creative drive?
What's coming to mind right now is just questioning how much I want to offer of the work I do to the people I don't know well,
Mm,
like, my kids' teachers and whatever. It's like I sometimes I say I'm freelance, um, but I'm very vague for the most part because my work is very important to me, but I mean, what is work? Like, is it bringing in a steady paycheck? Is that what we get to call work? And I just want to push back on all of that, of course, like as a creative and a person who is like trying to find a way to make money doing what you love. Like, that's just a really tricky territory because I
mhm,
don't want to be guilt tripped into like joining PTO when that has nothing to do with like what I want to do that day? I don't know. I want to be a team player, but I want to feel like my what I want to do is important too. And yeah, like the questions of, "Oh, what do you do?" are very tricky for me. I do it all.
mhm,
I do it all, okay? And I don't know, and when I don't know you that well, like it's hard for me to I don't know, sometimes I just word vomit. I'm a writer. "Oh, what do you write?" "Well, personal essays I write on Substack." "Oh, no, please don't go find me there. I'm not ready. I don't know you. Please don't look." And it's just so hard in the present moment to decipher,
mm,
like, how much of yourself you're gonna offer somebody.
yeah.
But I think it's fun to gamify also because, um every again, information. Every kind of interaction I have, it's like, "Oh, how did that go? How did that feel?" To tell somebody, "Oh, I'm gonna do a podcast this
Mm,
morning." They're gonna follow up. They might if they're a nice person, "How'd it go?" So you're creating your own, like, situations to answer to later.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like, "How much am I gonna let
yeah.
that person in? Now they're gonna go look for me. I hope they do, and also I'm scared."
It's hard. It's hard to like know when it's safe to offer those things. And I think that and I'm feeling this too as someone that's left a corporate job, perhaps temporarily, for perhaps forever. Who knows right now? Um, but I found it very easy to talk about what I did before, but like I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I'm a product manager. I work for this type of company, blah blah blah.
But the words
Um,
come easy. Yeah.
but the words come easy. It's like, yeah, I have, I work, this is the job. And now when people ask what I do, and I'm meeting, I've met fewer people in the time since I've quit my job than not, I kind of just say, like, oh, I'm self employed and let them follow up if they want because I'm kind of not
That's
ready.
safe.
And I'm like,
That's safe, yeah.
yeah, it's safe. It's like, and then if they ask, I'm like, oh, I kind of follow up with like one of the things I think I could do, which is like, oh, I do like consulting for tech and leave it at that, even though I'm not doing
Yeah,
that right now.
right.
But I have a website
It's
that
just
says what
like
I do.
these slice right.
Yeah.
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 Which slice of yourself are you offering up?
Something that you said that really resonated is one of the things you don't want is people to hear that, like, you
Your
have all
time
this
is
time and they try to
open.
get you to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, Chelsea's free. Like, Chelsea's
Yeah.
freelance. But I don't know what that means. Like, she's got time. And I very much like don't want that to happen.
All of everybody just
Mm,
needs more space. We just have this tendency in our society to just follow through with autopilot of like, okay, well, this gives me a paycheck. and people
Mhm.
seem to like me for it. And then we're not checking in with ourselves to see how it feels for us and if it's fulfilling the needs that we have or the future that we saw for ourselves. And
Yeah.
I want that for everybody. And even
Yeah.
if that's totally changing it completely, quitting your job, moving to a different country, this is what our life is for because financial reasons and societal expectations and all of those things that we worry about.
Yeah.
And I would love to gift everybody a free year of exploration.
We all have those financial those blocks for good reason, right? I think the society we're in sort of necessitates that, but it's such a shame. If I were to do this when I was, 23, 24, I will tell you my days would have looked very different.
Totally.
They probably would not have been quote productive, right? My priorities were very different, and I don't know how much self-discovery I would have come out the other end with. Chelsea, this was such a good conversation. I know we got cut short, and if you're watching the video, you might notice Chelsea's video is a little bit different.
Right.
But still
Yeah.
looking great, still here. And I think that, we must have said what we needed to say.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so. Recording gods were like, you're done.
you're done. You guys did it.
I had a good time.
I did too. Thank you so much for being here and for joining and for putting up with the tech stuff. I know,
I am
never
not
fun.
tech savvy and it always bites me and I never know what to do and I feel so helpless. I'm like,
We
I
figured
just
it
want it
out.
right. I just want it to
We
be done right.
we're here. We figured it out. Appreciate you and your time. Chelsea, let everyone know where they can find you
Yeah.
online, where your creativity currently lives for public viewing.
Yeah. Substack is my favorite place. Chelsea Caffey, ChelseaCaffey. I write permission. I used to say it's my semi regular newsletter. It is just whenever I do it.
Love that.
I'm really active in notes though. And I just love being everybody's cheerleader over there. So if you write something I'm into, I'm going to support you. Substack is wonderful in that way. And it's my favorite place to be online. I
Agree.
drop in and out of Instagram, but I still like it over there. Like I found I needed to make a creative handle that was separate from my personal account because it needs a container for all of the creative stuff. And that is Chelsea Caffey Writes. And I really hope to see you over there.
Amazing. Thank you. I love a good writing creative Instagram. Not something I've done. I kind of sit on the handle and never know what to do with it, but that might inspire
It's there
me.
for us though.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that.
Ready to catch our ideas.
We're ready when we are, whenever we
Hmm.
are. Chelsea, thank you
Yeah.
again for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Again, appreciate you all being here. You can find my newsletter at thismightbecringe.com. This podcast is available Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, most of the other places you listen to podcasts. And if video is your thing, that video is available on Substack and on YouTube. I will link all of the things that I and Chelsea just said in the show notes, so you do not have to feverishly take notes while listening to this. But if you are, that's cool too. I hope everyone has a wonderful day whenever you're listening to this. And from some inspiration from this conversation, I hope you go off and follow your creative intuition and just let that take you. Thank you all.
Mm.
Bye.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.